Only guy I know to ask that question to is my friend Doc Walker, part of the broadcast team, Super Bowl champion, dear friend of mine. How you doing, big man?
I'm good, brother. How you doing?
All right, you tell me this. Why is it so, Doc, that you see a team like Washington, and I got the numbers here from the last game. I mean, nothing spectacular. 26 first downs to 21 of the Eagles. 74 plays to 67. They had more plays than Philly. Not great in total yards, 365 to 415. I mean, they outrushed them by 3 yards, 107, 104. Every year, the last 4 games, it's been a 3-point differential. I know it's NFC East, but what else is a determining factor why this game is always close?
I think you nailed it. It's NFC East. It's like there was, it could be a crappy game. It could be a crappy game, but it's going to be like the Giant game. Maybe ugly, but it'll probably be close. Familiarity. Everybody knows what's at stake. The birds will travel down here. Everybody travels. Everybody's plays well. That's why I love it. I love it because it's twice a year. And so in this on the second one, I know the Eagles are still putting their thing together. Clearly, maybe the most talented team in the NFC. But on any given Sunday, you just got to go out there and lay it on the line. And Washington right now is wounded. They're dangerous because they got to know they left one on the table up in New York. And I'm sure New York's not pleased with their overall performance, but they got the W. That's all that really matters. So this game here, because you're breaking a new quarterback going up against this vaunted defensive front, but they got to get to him, and he's got to get rid of the ball. If he can overcome this one glitch, that's just get rid of the football, this offense with Eric Bieniemy has shown it can be dangerous.
Doc, is the wobbling of the Commanders due to all the youth that you have and new faces and the coaches and all the turmoil that you've had over the last couple of years? Is it just the point that this franchise and this team is trying to find itself? Because it seems that they're playing up and down the competition, which that's a sign of a team that's just not a team that's a championship medal team yet. Is that where they are?
Yeah, exactly. You nailed it. And when you're young and, Jalen Hurts has already shown you what he's made of, his mantle. He's a terrific leader. He's been able to overcome some adversity. And what they're striving for is championship competition, championship perfection. And yet, I don't think anybody, Frisco's, has shown some kink in the armor. And that's why it's making this season unbelievable, because everybody should have hope. You should feel like you got a shot at this. But you can't lose twice to anybody. I don't care who they are. Especially within the division. So that's why Sunday's game that's why the guys in Vegas, keep building those beautiful facilities, because nobody really knows. And you got to put your money where your mouth is. And so I wish I could tell you. They've had some problems on the offensive line. Their left guard was injured in that New York game. They can't afford to lose anybody. They had to play in Atlanta without the starting left tackle and survived, got a W. All of them are ugly, but you just get those W's. So I wish I could tell you, I'm hopeful that the disappointment of losing to New York will empower these guys. They had an angry locker room, as you should be in this league when you lose. But talk is cheap. We got to find out if these guys are going to be able to not dig themselves in a hole. It's hard to, third and long. It's not fun in this league. You made a living off third and long. It's not what you want. Offensively, we want to be in third and short. We want to be in third and manageable. That hasn't been their luck so far.
Is Ron Rivera the right guy?
Well, his record will dictate all of that. I don't judge them. I judge their results. They say a lot of the right things, but their results don't match what they say. So everybody should be proven by your resume. Your body of work should be what the scoreboard and the standings say, nothing else.
Do you think he made a mistake by not going for it when it was on the goal line last game in Philadelphia? Do you think that he had Monday morning quarterback,
Yeah,
Doc?
well, we're all right after the fact.
Right. Monday morning quarterback. Do you think he thinks that over
Yeah,
again?
we're all right. Well, he had a reputation in his past, and he's the guy who verbalized it, that on the road you go, you don't at home, but they didn't do it. So momentum, the Nittany Lion had just scored. I think you had the Eagles, you had them on their heels
Oh, yes.
because they're going, wow. And maybe, but everybody sounds great after the fact. They didn't do it. They extended. They went to overtime, and, the better team was able to prevail. But what is real is that if I can spar with the champ and come out of there, I can walk out of the ring, I'm not carried out of the ring, that's encouraging. I think anybody that survives the Eagles, you got to say to yourself, that's how we measure itself. Now you go and you wet the bed up against New York, against the Giants. They're nowhere near the class of the Eagles, but it's what happened. I don't like the up and down. I'd rather you be bad every week, and then we just start getting rid of people, start getting draft capital, and you know that. Can't do that here because they're teasing you, and they have no idea. I don't know who they are. That's the problem. They don't know who they are. If they did, I'm sure they'd bring that group out and try to get some performance to it. It's where we are, and they're not alone.
Yeah.
Maybe there's 12 teams in the league right now in a very similar situation.
The impact that Eric Bieniemy has had on the Commanders has been what?
It's been positive. I thought that was their worst performance offensively because, I like Wink, because he tells you, we're coming. He ain't hiding anything. So if a guy tells you he's aggressive and tell you that he is going to challenge your manhood and come at you, you got to have a better counter than they had. And they had some opportunities, but again, can't make people catch the ball. And they're going to bring, they're coming. And if your counter is to be 5 to 7 steps back in that pocket, as opposed to sprinting or moving out of that, you chose that. You chose it. You did it. It didn't work.
Sam Howell, has he impressed you enough for you to say, you know what? Yeah, he's the future of the team. He's just got to clean things up. And you know this, Doc, guys need more reps sometimes to figure out who they are, because you could look at a guy in the first 100 reps versus the last 100 reps, and the guy could click in with the last 10 reps of that 100 reps, and all of a sudden the light bulb goes on.
Oh, yeah.
Is that where we are here with Sam Howell?
I'd like to hope that I'm right. My gut tells me that if he can't get rid of the ball and he ends up with 150, you just cannot. He's holding a grenade.
Yeah.
So how long can a guy hold a grenade and then you trust him? So that's the one glitch. And I would have pulled him a couple of weeks ago for his own safety. He got hit like 8 or 9 times, and I would have thought that was it. Because I have a guy in Brissett that has proven he can play in this league, because I would have been trying to win the game I'm in, not teaching a lesson. The rest of those guys in there, they shouldn't have to wait through that. But they decided not to. So got to live with it. I like him. He's tough. He's got a gun. In this league, some guys have done it, but usually the guy with the rifleman wins because it's just physics. If he can get that ball in quicker, these DBs are cat quick. We're talking about tenths of a second to determine your fate in this league. So I want the guy with the gun. But the guy who's got to have the gun and he's got to have the brain that connects to know when to fire. I've got to measure a guy differently who holds a grenade in his hand and gets blown up over and over and over. The question is, how much of that can you take? At what point does it become torture as opposed to teaching?
Well, then that expands onto this question here. How many and how much of those 40 sacks that he's taken do you think are Sam Howell inflicted versus the media blaming the O-line and the fans and everyone around the league going, well, they don't have a very good O-line. Well, like you said, if you got a quarterback holding on to that grenade too long, I don't care who you have back there.
It's not all on him.
No.
Trust me, some of those are clean, perfect no-hitters. You know, you're hoping if offensive line guy, if a guy can't give you 2 seconds, then maybe he shouldn't be in the league. You know, you're going to get some incredible. I think there's 6. I call them predators, and they're like amazing individuals. And we've seen them. There's about 6 of them, and they're giving you at 2.1. They're coming. Thank God, there's only about half a dozen of them, and I call them aliens. And the kid in Pittsburgh, the kid in Vegas, the kid in Cleveland, the kid in Dallas, the kid in San Francisco. I don't care what you do to them, they find a way to get to you eventually. Now, opening play, Giants come in, that wasn't on the kid. It was a jailbreak. You know, if I got a back coming in, these backs, they're not blocking these predators. They may get in the guy's way. So maybe you got to move the pocket. That's what coordinators have. That's what EB's got to figure out a way to do it. So I would think it's 50-50, not all on him, but we're a unit. So if one guy breaks down, we all break down. They got to figure it out. And that's what they pay them to do. And so far, they're not doing a real good job at it.
The owners, I had Theismann on 2 weeks ago,
Yeah.
and he likes this guy, and I'm wondering how you're feeling being part of that organization's legendary history with Josh Harris taking over and the environment and what it is. And by the way, Doc, I'm not looking here to throw shade on any previous owner. I'm asking you moving forward in the front, in the front window.
A plus on everything. But I'm a guy in season. I need boots on the ground in the building talking football. I don't care about stadiums. I don't care. I'm not in. I need to know what immediate help can you help this group that's there right now trying to win games on a weekly basis. That's a lot to put on them. And they're doing a hell of a job. But I guarantee you right now, they're boiling because they've gotten 3-4 sellouts there. They've done their job. There are butts in those seats. But if they keep performing the way they're performing now, that may be a quick exodus because people are in a horrible mood. They've been treated like horse manure from the prior organization, and now they've embraced it. These guys done a great job, but they have other interests. And what I'm looking for is who's going to be responsible for the day-to-day here. And that's what I think they've got to implement in helping. Everybody got to be about helping. They have enough talent to win, Dan. If they didn't have enough talent, they stick a fork in them. They have enough talent to get the job done. The question is, when are they going to do it?
You know, Doc, I think sometimes our younger viewers and our younger audience and people don't realize what you just said, other options. That's not Washington Redskins / Commander fans that I played against, that I know. The people that, I mean, RFK used to rock like you were on a skateboard, and those fans, some of the greatest fans in the history of the United States, are in hibernation. I mean, I get it, because back then you guys spoiled them. You won so much that, get this, a 12-4 season was a shitty season for the Washington Redskins Commanders if you guys didn't get to a Super Bowl. It was such a high level of play with Bobby Beathard in the building and actually Coach Gibbs and all them guys and Joe Bugle and all that. I mean, do you think you ever get back to having that kind of franchise? Look, the Dolphins, Doc, they're going through that. Back, when you and I were younger, the Dolphins were the gold standard of the NFL. I mean,
yeah.
Who would have ever thought, Doc, in our lifetime, we'd be saying this? Are the Bengals a better franchise than the Dolphins? I mean, I'd have to pinch myself on that.
Well, and that's what we're seeing again. And what Tua and company have done there, it's all 3 phases of it. And showing you the balance in this league that nobody's perfect. But the momentum is back there. It's just like the U. The U is back. The momentum is back there. They stubbed their toe 2 weeks ago, but to come back in that. And so I know all you guys are really excited because you can sense that they're headed back in the right direction. All we want is those memories of the past to be rekindled again. I love when the Dolphins get together. As soon as the Eagles and the Niners lost, those guys got back together again. And they're the only group that's ever been perfect. They're the only group. And every time I see those guys, they got a little salt and pepper going right now in the beards. But, man, I love seeing those dudes together as a unit. They've lost some. We're all losing some guys. But that, to me, means something. Tradition matters. We want people to care. And you still breathe that. Any uniform that you wore, you want to see those guys right. The old sombrero, they took one. I mean, Falcons went down there and beat them in their place. I mean, and that's kind of like, wow. So, but at least they're fighting again. I mean, they have purpose. I'm pulling for Todd, man. He wore burgundy and gold. But hey, it happens. We want now, from the viewer standpoint, week to week, we got clashes. It's exciting to watch it. The Lions fell. I'm like going, Lions lost. And you're going, wow, we're shocked that they lost. Dan's done a hell of a job. He's got the roar back in the Motor City. So that's cool. You know, we love seeing that. I love seeing what's going on right now, but it's still open, man. It's open. And I don't know what version of the burgundy and gold will show up on Sunday. That and honestly, it's all I can tell you because I don't have any idea. And that's not good. You ought to pretty much know what kind of effort you're going to get. The ball may not bounce you away every week, but I should be able to guarantee you that my guys are going to fight you all the way to the end.
How about this, Doc? When you were on a Super Bowl Redskins team, and you knew immediately, didn't you, going into that respected year, the identity? Is that kind of what you're saying about this team now? You just really don't know. And we're going into the halfway point of the season. We just truly don't know what the identity of the Commanders are right now.
I don't know. You got 10 weeks. I know that. The good news is that you got 10 weeks. Everything is within your grasp. And it's going to get harder and harder every week because, you know, these powder puff training camps everybody's having now. September is kind of like training camp. Guys are working their way into it. We're starting to see some vicious hits. We're starting to get football going now. Guys are getting cranked up. And October, Halloween is on. You got to have your crap together or you're out. And the cream's going to start rising to the top. And you know it, and I know it. It's coming around the corner. This week is pivotal. It really is. And I know with the Eagles, their aspirations are really high. And that's what you want. You want to play the best and measure yourself. They may have been disappointed the fact that they went to overtime. They also lost, they lost last year at home, snapped their streak. So I think the Commanders have their respect. And that may even bring out more dog in them. So hopefully Washington's going to be clicked. If you heard the locker room comments after the game, guys were irate. But talk is cheap. And they need to have that attitude in their clubhouse every day this week preparing. If they do, I guarantee they're going to fight. The question is, are they going to be skillful enough to win the ball game?
A couple last questions for you, Doc.
Okay.
Do you agree, Doc, that this game, like you said, is not just pivotal on the season, on what kind of record and the future of Ron Rivera, but you mentioned next Tuesday's trading deadline, 2 and away, that could it be something like this? Say they put another L up there. Could it be a situation where they're building for the future because of the new ownership that I'm not saying fire Ron or this and that, but I'm saying, could you see the Commanders get into a position kind of like the Titans are right now where you maybe see the hand go up?
I could never envision that, but under the circumstances, the ownership group would then have to have boots on the ground. I don't think you can do that with your attention in several of the sports. Whoever is in charge of the Commanders then would have to be looking at assets. In other words, I don't want this current group affecting the future of anything unless they're going to be a part of the future of it. That's my point. I want their focus on winning week to week. So I just think it's way too complicated to predict, they'll move this and move that. I think their focus ought to be on trying to beat the Eagles, period.
Chase Young, has he rebounded in your
opinion?
opinion?
He's rebounding.
You see it again. You see the kid we saw his rookie year, because to me, that kid, his rookie year, Doc, I'm going to make this, and I know a lot of people won't agree with me. That kid is more talented than the kid in Dallas, Micah Parsons, when healthy. And when his rookie year, that kid was a force. And if he gets back to that guy, that he's a him.
Oh, he's that guy.
Yeah.
He was that guy. Question is, will he be that guy again?
Yep.
He's showing promising signs. But, we had a young man who's a predator out in San Diego get 6 sacks when he came up against a shorty, a guy that maybe shouldn't be in the league. That's when I know you're there. The Giants put guys, they had just met them. They just interviewed guys and put them in a game. And we get 2 sacks? No, you need to get 5 sacks if you get a shorty in front of you, if you all that. I don't know if we have anybody like that. If we do, they're holding talent hostage, because I don't see the results of that. If that's who you are. I'm not saying that we have any of them, but if we do, we see it on the field in the game. It's not anything to be talked about. It's not a commercial. It would be in the game. And this week, again, that's your chance. The Eagles' O-line is among the best in football. So if I'm a part of the Commanders' front and everything that's been said, this is a heavyweight championship. This is it. This is prime time, big time. It doesn't get any better, bigger, or better. And everybody that is what they say they are, we'll all know by 4 o'clock on Sunday.
Doc, finally here. And I'm going to do the old man get off my lawn here.
Oh, no, be you.
Okay. And I'm going to say this to you.
That's why people watch you.
When I watch Travis Kelce, or I watch some of these tight ends, and I watch guys like you, Bavaro, them dudes who were, Kellen Winslow was an outlier then back in the day. Okay.
Like
but there was a different tight end. And it wasn't really kind of like LT when he first came into the league. Nobody rushed from the outside perimeter with an OLB. Nobody did that. And they had to realize, and then all of a sudden now the league has become dominant in tight ends. When you see the tight end position today, you don't label them tight ends, do you? Or do you label them something else?
No. I mean, watching the Niners.
But they're completely different than your style of play.
It's a different, it's the offense. They work within their offense. Kansas City's offense features, requires it. They got it. And again, you got 15. But Kelce and 15 are magical. If you watch the Niners,
and
they played without Debo. And that's like taking
Trent Williams.
Yeah, and boy, do I know him. So they have 2 predator type talents that they played without. But the Niners and what they've done at that position, there's some guys that are just unusual, and they play within their offense well, and they block for receivers downfield. They block at the point of attack, but they make plays in the air game. And that option route running that Kelce does, he's a Hall of Fame talent, and he's on full display. And I haven't seen anything like it, because the game now and the passing game, Winslow would be the closest thing I could say, but that was with Don Coryell and Joe Gibbs and that offense. They were way ahead of themselves at the time. But Francis did some similar things. Gonzalez did some. He's freaks, Hall of Fame guys that are playing now. If you can do that and win, now you got my attention. These guys ain't on last place teams doing this. They're on first place teams, doing this. And that's what. And Philly has been in a similar situation now, because the receiver position they have now, what Philadelphia has done, I don't know anybody that's acquired talent as rapidly as they've done and had perfect fits for it. To me, it's amazing.
Do you think, hey, Doc, do you think that what you're seeing with Howie Roseman, he's a modern day
Beathard?
Bobby Beathard?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about. It's not only do they hit bullseyes in what they get, whether they've done in the backfield. Now they've done it at multiple positions. Both receivers, tight end, running back, quarterback, DT, linebacker, safety.
They just made a trade for a safety.
That's my point. He's aggressive while on top. Now, that shows me a lot. Nobody wants to deal business with him, and yet they're still pulling these deals off. That's executive of the year type status. I mean, they're nailing it. They're not alone, because everybody's now kind of aggressively going after this kind of talent. But can you win with it, or do you just build up stats? They're winning with it. I mean, that's the most impressive thing to me. You can be on a last place team throwing the ball, you're trailing every game, you're just stacking up stats. These dudes are stacking up W's with this extraordinary talent that's unselfish. And they're working together in a way that it's beautiful. I love the game. So watching it going, that kid at Dallas 11, I love him to death. Because you got to kill him to not have him be a factor on the play. From any number of positions, he just makes it happen. I'm sorry Diggs went down, because I love seeing greatness at work. And now they have to compensate for that. But Lawrence inside, they're ferocious. They come up every time. There's not a third down play that they're not actively involved in on it. They're never missing an action. You may get the ball off. You may score against them, but they hit you upside the head. They're never no-shows. That, to me, is ultimate greatness, is that on third down is your down. You ain't missing an action. No excuses. You beat them on the last play, and they end up hitting you on the top of the head. Your guy makes a play. It's like Montana's play, the most famous play in the old stadium in San Francisco. It's highly contested. Downs is my boy Downs. Everybody's doing their job. They just got it 1 inch over you. That, to me, is NFL competition at its finest.
Man, I'll tell you what. I knew Bobby Beathard final years of his life when because he lived in San Diego and he would go surfing. He liked to go surfing. This guy was
running, surfing, paddle. He'd have been paddle balling. He'd have been doing whatever.
Craziest thing you ever see. You go to the beach and there's Beathard out there on a surfboard, and you're like, So I get him in studio, and I was like, what were those years like in Washington? Acquiring people, inquiring. It's funny because Beathard would have been sensational today because of what you were talking about with Howie Roseman. You guys were taking people that people were going, they're kind of past their prime, and they were doing all that.
Yeah, no.
And they had taken everything from what Coach Allen did. And didn't he, in your opinion, don't you think he took with what Coach Allen did and just modified it? And those guys were just great talent evaluators.
Yeah. Same thing's going on down in Miami now.
Chris Greer.
You're getting innovative people. But they're also doing it now with the schemes.
Yeah.
They're matching. And the same thing I have for Andy Reid and what's going on in Kansas City. When you lose a generational talent, the cheetah, and then you win the Super Bowl the next year.
I know, man.
And then I look at people talking, they're young. Yeah, their defense is young, and they won the world championship with youth. Now, I know they got 1587, but let me tell you, they got a lot more than that. That you're balling out. You're getting guys to play and concentrate, and they're not breaking curfews. They're not wrecking cars. There's no gun charges. They're running a clean program and kicking your behind with it. And they gave up a generational talent, a sure gold jacket participant. Cheetah is must see. And now he's matched up with a genius in structure. It's not just one guy having a year. Everybody over there is having their year. And they're fast and furious. That's what I call them. I mean, you just to watch the Dolphins, I don't want to play against them. I want to watch them because it's just fun to watch. And then they get inspired now. So defensively, you feel like the oddball out. And I love the match. You got a young offensive creativity guy, and you go get a grizzled veteran that comes in defense. I love that match. It's old school, new school combined. They get a beautiful combination. Minnesota's doing a similar thing as well. Minnesota, that win was not an accidental win.
Best game he's played as an. Wait, you saw him in
I was so
Washington.
happy
You
for
think
Kirk.
that's his best game he ever played?
Beat the Eagles, won the championship at Philly. Yeah, he's at that level. He did it, but defensively, I mean, how about matching up?
Oh yeah,
How the Vikings?
Brian Flores.
Oh, love him. He got a raw deal in Miami, in my humble opinion.
Yeah, he did.
But he didn't let it stop him. It just made him bigger and better. And wait till they get some more personnel. Wait till they can get his type of guy on defense. I mean, it's fun to watch. I love to watch people that evolve. They don't take what people give them or label them by. They recreate themselves. And the Vikings now, who have the worst perception in the world, oh yeah, they didn't blow it. They built on it. And who they beat? A lot of people consider the best team in the National Football League. And they beat them. Now they're shorthanded. Everybody has a play with one hand behind their back every once in a while. But the Niners are big enough. If Debo plays, might have been a difference maker, but he didn't. But the Niners, I just love we got guys now that are innovative, young guys, older guys, and it's a beautiful blend. And people sold out. As a consumer, man, it was a treat to watch that last night. In the midst of all the baseball that's going on. You know, Philly, I'm watching Philly, I'm watching Dusty, I'm watching all this. You're flicking around going, can I believe this? This is a phenomenal time right now, seeing these athletes going all out and providing a lot of entertainment and yet selling out, giving us good ball.
Doc, I can't thank you enough for our friendship, man. I love you to death.
Oh, man, I love you, man. Man, just watching you do your thing, because this is Viking type this is Spartan type football. You know, the way you deliver it and set it up there, man, and it's old school, new school. Right now, it's just the right thing. And again, I'm happy because I know this is coming back for you. Yeah, I saw it.
Look at that, man. A UCLA man doing that for me.
Hey, man, got to. Man, look, I saw with The Rock. When you had The Rock on, I'm like, I saw you guys doing your thing. I'm like, yeah. And it's beautiful, man. When you get Michael Irvin on, let me know.
I will.
Again, please.
Oh, by the way, Ed Tutal said hi.
Let me tell you what. I hate saying all these good things about Cowboys, but I got to be honest with you, man.
Hey, don't worry. The folks in Philly, man, they're with you on this. But I told them this. I go, Ed and I and my wife, we love Tutal. He is the quietest,
he's the nicest
man you've ever met in your life. I'm getting Doc on today. He goes, you make sure you tell that man I said hi.
That dude was frightening.
Most underrated player, Cowboy history.
No question. Get in the stance to look at Dave Butts as I did in Cincinnati and to see him. And when he's your assignment, the things that go through your mind, he's the biggest human being, him and Dave Butts.
Yeah.
Had to play with Dave, played against Dave, but Tutal. And you know,
too.
To see this guy, you don't know what it's like to see this guy in the three-point stance. Or we're in motion, you going, and you know that he's your target.
He's 6'9".
I know it, dude, and I'm telling you, and he's had leverage for a big dude, and a tall guy. Most big guys, but no, he had everything, man. And it's just, and I'm so glad that I was able to survive it. Him playing them and Randy, those guys, man.
Shit, Harvey on the other side.
Oh man, but all of them, they were so dynamic in what they did. And even though we didn't hate them, you wanted to beat them. They wanted to beat you, but the rivalry was so intense.
Was John Dutton on that Cowboy D-line?
Yeah, man, Dutton's on that team. But Reggie, the Eagles front, all the fronts we had to deal with. I'm gonna tell you what, they go back to that Kelly Green.
Yeah, that's great on Sunday. It reminded me of Jerome.
Yeah, it did. Jerome Brown, all of them that we had to deal with, and Reggie. It was just, what you had to work in our division and the Giants, and LT and all of them, everybody was stacked. So to get through a season through that division through the East, man, Carl Banks, Harry, it just
Van Pelt.
Van Pelt. I had to deal with him in college. He played at Michigan State. We opened up with him out of UCLA. This dude was a human wrecking ball. I take the hardest I ever got hit in my life in college. You know, he's in there killing people, and I'm telling Vermeil, let me go in. I got hit so hard. You know, when your face hurts, he stopped me from talking. I used to talk a lot during the game. I'll go in there. That dude hit me, and I said, that's it. He ended my all. I never spoke again during the game. That dude, man, I'm telling you what, the East and the guys that we had to compete against, it's just absolutely amazing that you're still alive. You can walk and talk. But those dudes were good dudes, man. It really was. And it's something that when you have ultimate respect for people you have to compete against. And we never killed anybody. They never killed us. We never killed them. They won. We won. And all of us, and why I love the East, is that we're the only division that everybody has a Lombardi.
Absolutely.
In the division.
Absolutely. Doc, I love you very much, and I thank you so much. Our friendship goes a long way and
Forever,
many
baby.
decades.
Forever.
Thank you again. I want to get one more you up here because I'm going to send this to the University of Miami.
Yeah.
Hey, Doc, thank you, my friend. I'll see you down the line.
All right.
Love you too, man. All good. Fantastic. Doc Walker, must listen to in the Washington, D.C. area. So many years part of the broadcast team for the Washington Commanders. Champion, and I'll tell you what, a champion human being. One of my dearest friends, and I love the guy so much. And by the way, was on in D.C. all those years doing radio, and just a must-listen to guy. So much thanks. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you, guys. Please hit the like button. Xander, Big Joe, we thank you. Tone, dude, you're killing it, man. The segment's becoming something. We annihilated things yesterday, man. Good job there, Tone, breaking some stories yesterday with us. We will catch you tomorrow going 2 to 6, and we shall see you on the flip side.
Football and Hooters, the perfect pair.